Welcome back to Arkins Hearth, a Not Dead Yet production. My name is Michael Jason Chandler, and tonight I'm your host. Across from me tonight is...
the Pixie, and I cried about a blanket for like 30 minutes today. So I have a headache. And to my... which way am I going?
You know, that's really up to you. You could say left, and it would be that
the one with the hair color.
the ginger. And
That's a hair color.
I just got off a 10-hour shift at work.
Woo!
Yeah!
And to your
And to my
far
across
left.
the table, that's right.
Oh yeah, for you it is. It's left for me.
Wolf Tharoon,
What the
caveman, business haver, and men of bear strength.
So, tonight we are going to cover the Sunport murders in our third part of the Shadows of Albuquerque series. This will be the story of Sean Lannon. The Albuquerque International Sunport is a place of constant movement. Travelers hurry to their gates. Airport staff move through familiar routines. Families?
Families!
I am tired.
You're like if Vin Diesel had a
Damn families.
Yeah, shut up.
Where'd you get Vin Diesel?
I don't know where he got Vin Diesel.
Fast and Furious.
No, where'd you get that from? What? Families.
It's all about family.
Fast and Furious?
Oh, it's all about family. The
Okay,
line.
cool.
Okay.
Wow.
What?
All right. So,
I've only
anyways,
seen one of those.
Same.
so
There's 10 of them.
I know.
I think I've only seen the like 7th one or some shit where they like that car went into space.
And the trailing off starts.
it does, man.
Go
So
ahead.
the airport.
Start over.
The airport. Families reunite. They say their hellos and their goodbyes. But for most, it was just an ordinary day. But on March 5th, 2021, the sense of normalcy was shattered. In the parking structure, inside a single vehicle, authorities made a discovery that was both grim and nothing that someone would expect in a place like this. 4 bodies, not buried, not hidden far away, left in a place where people pass through every day.
You know, I actually remember this story.
Yeah.
Like.
It was only 2021.
Yeah,
It was
no,
4
like-
years ago.
I was getting off work.
Wait,
Like,
I lived here for that?
yeah.
This was 4 years ago. And it was in Albuquerque airport, and they found a car with 4 bodies in it.
How did I
Wild.
miss this? I'm a true crime. Like,
How did I also miss this? Me too.
Most true crime podcasts focus on past things. This was a recent, it had happened.
I also think it's like a lost New Mexico thing because,
Nobody pays attention to
we're not covering, and we may want to do like a heavy hitters thing where we'll cover like Bundy and the heavy hitters, the well-known killers. But I picked this guy because he's not well-known. Sean Lannon he's a serial killer, but he's not well-known.
well, I've
And-
only ever heard of, in my true crime journey, watching documentaries, listening to podcasts, I've only ever heard of 3 cases from the state of New Mexico while just randomly watching and listening to things.
Right, and we're doing 4 episodes, but if you count your first episode on the
That's 5.
West Mesa.
yeah, we're talking 5 different murder stories, and they're all very different. There's the West Mesa, who's an unknown, unseen, killer who knows what happened to him. Then we did Girly Chew, where was the husband murdered the wife. Then the next episode was the Hollywood video murders. So we've got a spree killer, we've got a wife killer, we've got an uncaught serial killer. This is a caught serial killer.
Oh.
And a surprise for the end.
Well, I don't mind that people know that he was caught. I mean, anybody who knows this case, or if they know the case of Sean Lannon, they'll know he got caught. It's hard to say, if I know his name, he's probably in jail.
Yeah,
So you don't know a serial killer's name if they haven't been
There's
caught.
a couple that I'd like to talk to you about.
Off air?
Off
Okay.
air that I would like to start covering because they haven't been caught yet.
Yeah. Well, no, and that's how they in Albuquerque?
Yes.
Of course.
One of my friends also sent me a case that's currently being investigated that she thought would be cool.
Does the killer have a name yet?
No, it was just
Okay.
a person found
Sounds
dead.
crazy.
Well, our final episode for this series will actually be about an active case for someone who's been arraigned and they're in prison and charged. They have not been They have not actually gone to trial yet.
Oh.
So it's very, very recent. Like he was just caught.
Oh wow.
And
As of
this recording.
Yeah, who knows what will happen by the time
he might have
it's out.
his trial might have started, but it won't be over by the time we're doing this, by the time it's even released. Ultimately, I did that on purpose because I wanted to show the range. One thing Albuquerque has is range. They've got serial killers that they've caught and serial killers they haven't caught, and wife murderers that have weird cult beliefs, and unfortunately serial killers that like the one today. They've got a lot of different types of violence, and we're going to talk in the last episode, we're going to talk about just how heavy the violence is in Albuquerque. I'm not trying to be negative towards police. I'm not saying it's anybody's fault. I'm not trying to criticize Albuquerque. I'm really not. But a lot of bad stuff happens in Albuquerque. There was a case when I worked as a child abuse investigator for a couple of years, and there was a little girl who got killed, and I'm not even going to cover that.
I do remember when
That's
that
a
happened.
horrible case. Unfortunately, Albuquerque's got something for everybody.
I don't know if we want to.
Which one are you talking about?
The Toy Box.
Toy Box is not Albuquerque.
Was it not Albuquerque?
No, that was Truth or Consequences.
Still New Mexico.
It is New Mexico. He's a heavy hitter. A lot of people hit him. And so there's a couple of reasons why I don't want to do that. But one of the primary ones is it's out there. It's been covered. Last pod covered it twice. They did it and then they redid it and updated it. And they're excellent stories. I feel like that one's been told. And I'm kind of looking for stories that haven't been told 30 million times. Well, all right. So back to the Sunport, the airport there in Albuquerque. It's an international airport. People, from all over the world fly through there. It's a stopover going from the east to the west. A lot of people will either go in Denver or Albuquerque if they're traveling from any part of the east to like California. I myself have flown out of the Albuquerque airport multiple times. I usually end up in Dallas, weirdly. Even when I'm going to like Denver, I'll end up in Dallas. It's weird. But
Econoline, got it.
Yeah. Well, I'm cheap. What can I tell you? So let's talk about the killer. Sean M. Lannon grew up in Gloucestershire County, New Jersey. I also kind of pulled this because guess where my family comes from? New Jersey. Well, New Jersey and Colorado. So,
Gloucester?
You know who else is from New Jersey?
Gloucester.
No, you're from Gloucester?
No, I don't think. I don't know. That wasn't our county. We were in a different part of Jersey.
Pixie would like to tell us someone else who's from New Jersey.
Honorable Willwood mention.
Jesus.
Oh,
There it is.
That's it.
Okay.
You know who?
No, I need that.
You know who else is from New Jersey? Cake Boss. It's not Hoboken style.
So today we're going to talk about someone who murdered his wife and a lot of other people.
I had to have my honorable Cake
I know.
Boss.
No, you're good. You have your cake boss.
You know
have
how
your.
I feel about Hoboken
Hey.
style.
You have your cake, and you have your wood. And
When you say it like that.
cake wood cake.
Oh, Lord.
It's okay. When we went to his concert, they made a post and they were like, I can't believe I'm going to see Will fucking Wood today. And somebody was like, why would he do that?
Yeah. The first comment I got was, now, why would he do that in front of you? I'm like,
Anyway.
Sean Lannon. He's from New Jersey. His childhood unfolded in what seemed like a typical suburban setting. Quiet streets, neighbors chatting, kids playing outside. Accounts from school records, teachers, and families suggested something a little bit more behind the surface, some complications. He struggled socially. There were moments there he was distanced, he was disconnected. Things didn't fully stand out at the time, but these things seemed more significant in hindsight. I'd like to point out, they say this about things sometimes. I think there are a lot of quiet kids out there. I think there are a lot of kids who are like isolated and a little bit distant and maybe disconnected. And I don't think many of them become serial killers.
No, that's not.
Yes, maybe this was significant in hindsight, but, I think this is one of those killers that falls in the no proof of early childhood trauma. Doesn't look like this guy was beat up. It doesn't look like horrible things happened to him, but he does horrible things as an adult.
Was there any, him doing horrible things as a child, or was he just
Nothing.
a quiet child?
He was just distant and disconnected. People felt that was significant in hindsight.
Okay, well, when I was a kid, I didn't talk to people because I wanted to read my book. So,
But I'm pretty sure you're killing people. I mean,
no.
she's a ginger.
She is a ginger. She's got to eat at some point.
Just kidding. I've never threatened anyone's life. Never.
Except for mine.
No.
No.
So, as he moved into adulthood, instability became a pattern of his life. He would drift between jobs. He would drift between states. He would never really find any footing. People who knew him during these years describe this shift. He just became even more withdrawn. At times, he would be volatile. Then, suddenly, he would marry Jennifer, a woman that would give his life hope. They would begin building a life together and having children, and they would try to create a stable environment. But over time, the stability broke down. Financial stress, the thing that gets every married couple. I love my wife. And, oh my God. Financial stress, substance abuse, never a good addition, and emotional strain wore away the relationship. Arguments became frequent, and Jennifer began confiding in friends that she was afraid of Sean.
Do we know what substances?
Substances involved. I didn't go into what they were.
I was just wondering if it was like hard drugs or just like alcohol. We don't have to Google it. It's fine. I was just curious. I'm sorry.
No, I'm interested. Since you asked, I mean, I would like you to guess. What substance do we think that Sean Lannon used?
I want to say he started off with alcohol.
I also agree he started there, but I think he may have progressed into more extreme things.
Methamphetamine.
Okay. Actually, you guessed right. It was meth.
I knew it.
Come on, it's New Mexico.
Oh,
Meth.
Walter White was his drug.
Why are you blue?
Doubt that's very much, since that's a
It's
fictional
blue 'cause
character.
It's good, bitch. Sorry.
Do I look?
Yes.
Oh,
So,
okay.
anyways, where were we?
His wife was scared of him because he was doing drugs.
Oh, I know that. I'm saying where in the script.
That's what I was trying
there
to
it
tell
is.
you. His wife was scared of him. That's
But
in the script.
we're on the page. I have to read.
I don't have the script.
I know.
Sorry.
I have to do the reading thing.
I was trying to be helpful, Jason. This was a way of trying to.
That's okay. I'll
What
cut it
laugh
out.
was that? That was like full on seagull. No, he's like, Okay, back to murders.
Lannon's behavior became erratic. He began to have mood swings. He became even more isolated like he was in the past, and he became paranoid.
Oh, man. Shocker.
Yeah. Looking back, the warning signs were there. I would say anybody using meth is dangerous, to be honest with you. But,
Yeah.
but they weren't enough to stop what came next. So, who were Sean Lannon's victims? We'll start with Jennifer Lannon, who was his wife and the mother of his children. At the time of her death, the two were estranged, and their relationship had been marked by conflict in the period leading up to the killing.
Were they estranged they were actively getting a divorce?
I don't know if she had filed for divorce, but she definitely left him because he was violent and paranoid and
So
doing
she was
meth.
trying to get away.
And yeah,
That sucks.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, from experiencing other people's experiences similar to this, that's like one of the hardest choices to make is leaving the person.
It's also the most dangerous moment.
Yeah.
Because somebody who won't kill you because they want control over you, because they want to keep you, because they think that you love them, when you're like, no, I'm done, that's when they're most likely to get their most
it's really
violent.
scary.
That's where women get killed.
Yeah.
That's why you got to be careful when you leave.
So, like, extra sucks in my brain because she had made it past that point.
Right.
And he still got it.
Well, and that's kind of like same thing happened with Girlie Chu. She was in her own apartment. She'd gotten out. They literally went to her apartment that she'd moved into after she left her husband and killed her there.
Crazy.
Yeah. Because men are the best. So, my
Just
gender.
the best.
Justin Mata was part of their social circle and was reported missing before his death was discovered. Matthew Miller was also connected through shared acquaintances. His disappearance became part of a broader investigation that eventually linked multiple victims. Randall Apostolin was a local handyman and neighbor who had contact with Lannon prior to his death. Michael Dabowski lived in New Jersey and was killed separately from the others. Lannon later claimed that Michael Dabowski had abused him, but these allegations were never substantiated by investigators and they remain disputed. Each of these individuals became connected to Sean Lannon through proximity, acquaintance, or circumstance. Those connections ultimately placed them within the scope of an investigation that spanned multiple states.
Did I count right that was 5 people?
Let's see. So we've got Jennifer, Justin, Matthew Miller, We've got Randall Apostleton and Michael Debakowski in
Okay,
Jersey.
bye.
So that's 5
That's 5.
thus far.
So the children were not harmed in this.
No, it doesn't. He didn't hurt his kids. He killed his wife.
Well, yeah.
And then went to prison, so the kids were completely abandoned by their parents.
Unfortunate.
But good that he's gone.
Yeah. It brings me back to when I was working at a certain electronics store as security, and one of the co-workers' brothers.
Was it a shack?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
They don't
still
exist
around,
anymore.
So that's
Oh,
why,
okay.
Yeah. And I was working security at the time. And a coworker's brother asked me was walking home. I was like, well, I'm getting off. I'll take you home anyway. Found out that guy a week later attempted to kidnap his children or his niece or something.
Wow. Okay.
Or whatever. Yeah. No, he's in jail now.
But, yeah.
Yeah.
Spooky.
That's what happens. We hope. I hope
happens.
that those people go to prison.
It's New Mexico.
Well, I think that
It's
happens
weird.
everywhere. I mean, people trying to steal their kids, it's horrible because I used to work at CYFD and I knew numerous dads that loved their kids and wanted to be with their kids and weren't because of various levels of divorce cases. And some of them needed to not be with their kids. They were problems.
Yeah.
They had violence and they had issues, but there were some that it was just, the violence that existed was between mom and dad, but they still couldn't see their kids. And, I'm not saying that that's not justified. I'm simply saying it was kind of tragic. It could be sad. Anyways, so Sean's violence began with manipulation. He would gain trust with his victims by placing them in situations where they felt safe. Once he had them in a place where they were relaxing and they seemed safe, he would attack. Investigators determined that he would use blunt force, often a hammer, to carry out the killings. Afterward, he dismembered the bodies using power tools. The remains were placed into containers and transported across state lines. Still a better killer than Girly Choose killers, who at least he could wrap a body. Sorry, just saying. But so he would transport them across state lines, which made this a felony or federal crime. It was always a felony, but it was a federal crime, like an FBI crime when you take bodies across. But some of the remains ended up in a vehicle at the Sunport in Albuquerque, but others were found in New Jersey. The scale of his brutality and acts shocked investigators. Dismemberment is actually rare in homicide cases and often associated with attempts to conceal crimes, but it can also point to a deeper psychological disturbance. Forensic teams worked backwards, reconstructing timelines, movements, bodies, and the connections that would stretch across multiple states. At first, these murders, even the ones at Albuquerque Airport, didn't appear connected. Often these began as missing person reports. They were separate, they were scattered and uncertain. But as evidence was gathered, patterns began to emerge. The connections to Sean Lannon were found.
I'm so sorry, you may have said this earlier. Who was the first one that was found?
And I said that I listed the murders. I haven't said who the first one was. I
was making sure I didn't miss
think it's in here. No. It's okay. So investigators in New Jersey and New Mexico had begun coordinating, having interviews, connecting and sharing forensic evidence, and the timelines began to align. So that's where we're going to get the information on that. Cool thing about this is I would like to point out, there are places where 2 different districts in the same state will have 2 different police forces that don't share information. And people go missing for years, decades sometimes. This is New Jersey and New Mexico. These are not close.
These people are not talking to each other.
No, they are.
They are.
They coordinated. That's what I'm saying.
Oh.
Investigators in New Jersey and New Mexico coordinated, did interviews, shared forensic evidence, and shared their timelines.
That's awesome.
So I just want to point out that that's people give the cops crap, but in some cases, and often in these cases where the killer's caught and they get a lot of information, it's because police do coordinate.
I know back in the day, that's why we had so many, a couple serial killers that were just now recently caught, like within the last couple of years, that did stuff in like the 80s.
Right.
Or, you know what I mean?
Well, they're getting caught with DNA, and then we go back and go, well, how could they have not been caught? And we find out that 2 of their killings were in this district, and 3 of their assaults were in this district. And nobody shared information for 30 years.
Well, I think cops are like the system's getting better at communicating.
Well, and this is 2021, and so that kind of shows that in the modern age, this was only 4 years ago.
Yeah.
In the modern age, New Jersey and New Mexico can find connections and begin sharing information. I think that's a really positive thing. That made me, I'm like, as horrible as this case is, and it's pretty nasty, with this guy like just seeming to kill people with hammers, not even for good reasons. Ultimately, the fact that New Mexico and New Jersey being so distant not only recognized the patterns, but shared and communicated, that's amazing. And it's probably why he got caught. At first, these cases didn't appear connected. As I said, New Mexico and New Jersey worked together to connect them.
Did you just say New Jersey?
Then
you did.
New Jersey.
I'm glad I wasn't the only one there.
Did
with
I?
that.
You just said New Jersey.
You totally fucking
I
did.
really think we should have.
I wasn't
I
gonna-
probably will. I won't
I wasn't
because
going to
that's
say
a
anything
slur.
because he was.
I didn't mean
he was
to.
Just going, you know.
Okay,
so.
no. No, I will definitely cut that out. I don't. That's a. Let's leave that
It
in.
wasn't
Look at a nice
purpose.
brisk.
Okay,
All
I
right.
think it's a bris, not a brisk.
No,
Brisk is what happens when you
leave
leave some ice water. And okay. Well, if you drink some ice water or get splashed water, you might feel like a brisk moment. You might feel a bit brisk.
Oh.
A bris is a meal. But let's move on.
Murder.
No, thank you. I'm all right now.
Right now?
Well, the need comes up every once in a while, but only when I'm hanging out with
The
you.
night is young, he says.
He basically just said.
So then came the discovery at the Sunport airport. The moment that changed everything, also known as, what did you call it in Meow Wolf? Airport. You called it airport something.
A plain place.
Plain place.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. So
Wait, what?
then came the discovery
Wait, who said
at
that?
the
You said
Sunport.
that.
No, I don't.
Oh, you did.
No, I didn't.
Listen to the
There
Meow
is
Wolf.
no way
No.
in hell
Oh,
that I said
oh.
plain place.
Oh my God, you need to listen to the Meow Wolf episode because you said plain place.
I don't think I did.
Not plain
You-
place. It was like a.
I'm pretty sure plain
It was-
place sounds
it was
right,
like-
actually.
It was like plane. Was it plane station?
Plain station.
That's what it was.
That's
I
That
said
was
plain
it. You said
station.
plain station.
Speaking of Meow
So,
Wolf, I'm going there again
Let's
tomorrow.
let's snap into this. So I'm going to say,
Okay.
and then came the discovery at the Sunport Airport, or as Pixie would call it, the plane
The
station.
plane station.
This moment changed everything. It tied multiple victims together and accelerated into a multi-state investigation. This is when everybody starts working together. And media coverage would intensify, public attention grew, and the search for Sean Lannon became urgent. So the victims in order. Jennifer Lannon was the first to be killed, and she was killed in Grants, New Mexico in 2021. Justin Mata was a friend of them was killed shortly after Jennifer, also in New Mexico. Matthew Miller was killed in New Mexico following the deaths of Jennifer and Mata. Randall Aposton was killed in February 24th, 2021. So all of these deaths are in 2021. This one was in Albuquerque. So we've made it home to Albuquerque. And Lannon had actually hired him to help him move like storage bins and then killed him, dismembered him. Oh, wait, no. Lannon hired him to help him move the dismembered remains of his first three victims. The storage containers were his first
Oh
three
God!
victims.
Oh.
Yeah.
And when he discovered the contents, Lannon ran out of options and
So
he
he
beat
had to
Aposta
kill
to
him?
death. Yeah, he had to kill him with a hammer.
He's like, you know too much. I have to kill you now.
So the fifth victim,
That's exactly how that went.
which is the New Jersey victim, was Michael Dubkowski. He was killed March 8th of 2021 in East Greenwich, New Jersey. And Lannon fled New Mexico, went there to beat Dubkowski, who was his former mentor. And he beat him to death with a hammer. That was his thing. And he alleged it was a crime of passion due to childhood abuse.
Can I just say, I looked up a picture of Sean Lannon, and it looks like, in his mugshot, he looks like he's still on meth. He's kind of spooky looking.
His eyes are really wide.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you, if I saw him walking in the streets of Albuquerque, I would definitely not notice.
Well-
He would just be some dude. Another bald white dude. I mean, there are lots of them around. So Lannon was eventually arrested in St. Louis, Missouri.
What? Sorry.
They never
How did
stay
he
in.
get there?
Well, how did he
How
get
did he get there?
this guy that killed in New Jersey and New Mexico, and you're worried about how he
Why did
managed to
pick
Missouri?
Missouri, though. That's like.
He was
Look,
all
you
over.
Go back to
I
New
mean,
Mexico.
well, he killed 4 people there and put them in a car.
Because Ginger. I am in misery.
Anyways, so after the investigation had led authorities across state lines, they tracked him to Missouri. And then during questioning, he just confessed. Not just to the known murders, but to many more.
What?
Oh, wow.
How many?
Welcome to the podcast, guys. The killers always say they killed more.
Well, yeah, but how many is many?
Well, we'll get there, won't we?
I'm too impatient for that. You know this.
You look impatient.
So at one point, he claimed responsibility for as many as 16 killings.
What?
Investigators approached these claims carefully. In other words, they weren't
Didn't
sure he
believe
wasn't
him.
full of crap.
Well, that's because so many have been.
Because,
Yeah, that's true.
false or exaggerated confessions are not uncommon. Yeah. Especially in cases of mental instability and desire for notoriety.
Who was that dude that just kept confessing to murders so that they bring
Lucas.
in more and
Lucas,
more food
Henry Lee Lucas
Oh, yeah,
was
I forgot
he confessed like 125
Yeah.
murders.
just because they kept giving him bribes.
And it was because they were closing cases. They were digging closing cases. And back in those days, if somebody said I did it, why wouldn't you believe them? You know, we didn't understand mental health in the same way we do now. And we didn't have police that back then that were trained to understand mental health as they are now. An understanding of mental health and cops are pushed and inspired and paid more. Because I have a bachelor's in psychology. I had an officer who wanted me to apply for the police station at one point, and he flat out said, "You'll advance faster, and they'll just tap $400 onto every one of your checks just because you have a psych degree."
That's cool.
They specifically hire people with mental health background and whatnot to avoid things like Henry Lee Lucas, and that's why these guys automatically were not automatic to believe this guy. That's why they were hesitant to believe that he killed 16 people because they hadn't found evidence of that, and it's not uncommon. Authorities did focus on what could be proven and what the evidence supported, and in the end, only a portion of his claims can be verified, and that's the 5 we know. Doesn't mean he didn't kill other people. He was traveling through states and moving around. Is it possible that there are some murders out there from a district or from a police force that they didn't share information? They didn't make that connection, and so they still have open cases that this guy's guilty for?
Reminds me of Israel Keys.
You never know. There could be something out there. That's not to say that they're doing a bad job. It's just, maybe they didn't get the evidence that takes it across state lines.
Mm-hmm.
Lannon faced charges in both New Jersey and New Mexico, but ultimately he entered plea agreements in both states. In New Jersey, he pled guilty to the murder of Dubkowski. In New Mexico, he pled guilty to the killings connected to the Sunport case, so all 4 murders. He received multiple life sentences. Probably I imagine they took the death penalty off the table.
Yeah.
If he was willing to, because they always do that. They always say, "Oh, I did it because I don't want you to kill me." That's the same thing Gurley Chu's husband said he didn't do it, and then said his girlfriend, whose DNA was on the scene and her hair was found among the things left on the road. And he's like, "My girlfriend didn't do anything." Yeah.
So
We're all
stupid.
nodding our heads. This is radio, not television.
I love
Sorry.
my fellow co-hosts. It's radio.
Okay, fine.
Nodders.
Yes, I agree. 100%.
Stop nodding off.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Nodding for agreeance. I'm just going to start saying
So, he pled guilty and he got the life sentences. During the proceedings, Lannon referenced a psychological break and made repeated claims of past abuse, but there was no corroborating evidence, so those claims remain unresolved. So nothing in his past, like I said earlier, there's no proof of abuse. He claims that he was abused, and he claims that his last victim, the Michael Dubkowski, had sexually abused him, or did it say sexual or just childhood abuse? Excuse me. That it was childhood abuse.
It's giving fake insanity plea.
Well, that's the thing. I think that some people, and if you don't study true crime, you don't study law, and you don't, even if you don't watch enough, Law and Order, you might not realize that saying they abused me, even if you say that it was SA, even if you say that it was physical, verbal, you can make all of the most horrible claims and people might even believe you. But hey, none of those are a good reason to go on a killing spree of any kind, so it's like, he claims all of these things. They weren't ever able to resolve or prove any of it. They debate the motive of his actual reasoning behind this. But let's also remember that he didn't even, he beat these people to death with a hammer. That's very close. That's very personal. If you just want to kill people, you don't beat them with a hammer. You shoot them.
Yeah.
You shoot them with a gun. It's America. It's not hard to get a gun.
I know we probably covered this before, but did he meet the criterias? Like, besides just being on meth? You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yes. Because, the crossing states and whatnot can count, because remember, he's killing people here and then he goes back to kill the guy in Jersey.
Yeah.
He's crossing states, which shows a clear cooling off period.
Oh, yeah.
He killed more than 2 people. He obviously had the mental illness, the need to kill. That's what I was pointing out with the hammer, is that it wasn't just, he wasn't just killing because he wanted to remove these people from the world. He was killing these people because he wanted to kill them, and he wanted to do it up close and violently with as much blood and pain as possible.
And he wasn't afraid to get his hands dirty.
Oh, yeah, I imagine he got a lot dirty, yeah.
Another thing, and I'm pretty sure we did cover this, but there used to be a criteria, like a trinity of like this, and this makes a
Yeah, we did.
killer
I did
do
talk
that.
No, and we did talk about that's the McDonald triad,
Yeah.
which was starting fires, wetting the bed, and killing animals.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why I asked earlier if he was more than just quiet and away from people.
Right. But what we found is that the wide majority of serial killers don't match those 3 criteria.
Okay, I was just making sure.
But the diagnoses of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and sociopathy, if you have those 3, which we call the dark triad.
The dark triad. Okay.
The dark triad is alive and well and is exceedingly accurate. And that's why, a lot of people have a misunderstanding. They think if somebody has like a sociopathy, that person is automatically dangerous. They're not. They have to have that deep self-importance. They have to have that need to dominate others, that Machiavellianism, that narcissism. And so, when you see those 3 elements, that self-love, self-aggrandizing, that Machiavellianism, that, sociopathy, that's someone, and even that person might not be a killer. Because a lot of times you have to draw in childhood abuse, sexual abuse. There's a lot of other elements that a lot of serial killers, basically you have to take somebody with some pretty severe mental health issues, and then you have to abuse them as a child. And you have to do horrible things to them. And you have to, to make a serial killer is not, it's not any one thing. It's nature and nurture. You have to be a monster with a kid who has a lot of problems to make them into that kind of a monster. But make monsters we do in our society, still 30 to 40 active at any given time in the United States.
To think about.
That's a giant number.
Well, yeah, you would think with the millions and millions of people in this country, you wouldn't worry about it, but 40 is enough for us to have one in almost every landlocked state.
Yeah.
And, it is what it is.
Isn't it something like every 5th person you've met has like killed somebody or something like that?
Well, that's a different stat. That's you will meet so many killers. I mean, but you've got to remember a statistic like that is making a really general statement. When you talk about people who've killed someone, that could just mean you're walking around a military town, man.
This is true.
A lot of soldiers who went to Afghanistan have killed somebody, and that doesn't make them monsters.
Yeah.
In duty and self-defense, there unfortunately in the modern age there are reasons why people kill. I myself have sat in rooms with numerous people who've killed because I've hung out with a bunch of cops working at Children, Youth, and Families, and I guarantee you, and many of those officers were ex-soldiers. So have I been in rooms with killers? Absolutely. But I also trusted my life to those people because they were cops. They strapped on a gun and went out every day and risked their lives.
Yeah.
And they tackled monsters who attempted to harm me or others when they attempted to. Yeah. That's why I'm pro-cop, guys. Even though I don't like getting tickets when I did stop at the stop sign, Mr. Officer. The impact of these crimes didn't end with the arrests or the sentencing. As always, families were left grieving. Communities in 2 states were shaken. And questions remain. Were there more victims? He said there were. But how much can we believe him? How much were his confessions true? I mean, I have a tendency of not believing a self-aggrandizing monster.
Well, and so many serial killers will confess to the crimes just because they want to be more famous and more notorious for their crimes.
Yep.
Like,
the body count.
I wouldn't believe them either.
Well, and it's a creepy thing because, like, you talk about, and I totally agree with you. You know, you have the Henry Lee Lucases that are like, you know, we'll just say that they've killed hundreds of people because they want that, and then you have people like Gary Ridgway who they know has victims, and he knows where those bodies are, and he's not telling anyone because he's holding that. He wants to still own them in a sense because he's a monster. It's creepy in both ways. And I don't know that it would be true to say that if people are happily saying that they killed 16 people, that they're lying. You know, maybe I'm sure that there are some who want to admit it because they want to be more famous and they really did kill those people. But I also, the really creepy ones, the ones that mess with me are the ones who want to keep them.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
That being said, do we know what kind of totes he was using, like what they look like in case I ever see one on the side of the road? Because I
think they were just storage boxes, like plastic storage boxes. Cases like this force us to confront uncomfortable realities about violence, about unpredictability, and about how much we can and cannot understand. And I think talking about the difference between being in a room with a killer and bumping into a serial killer, you know, we hear those stats about everybody's going to meet so many killers in their life. I've probably sat in a room with 5 or 6.
I've hung around a bunch of bikers. Well, and a lot of military bikers.
And a lot of military. And it's real. My dad went to Vietnam. He did like 4 tours in Vietnam. I probably sat in a room with a killer
at home
right after I was born.
Yep.
You know, the day of.
Am I allowed to rabbit trail off of military guys for a second?
Go for it.
Okay, so when I was growing up in Nebraska, there was this old man I went to church with who was a biker and ex-military. Mm-hmm. And he was the sweetest dude.
Oh, yeah.
They are.
He was in the Navy, and he was on the ships when they were testing atomic bombs. And so he ended up getting cancer later in life because of it. But he would tell us these stories where they'd all be on the ship, and they'd say, cover your face with your arm, because it's, you know,
duck and
they
cover.
could see their whole skeleton.
That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. No,
like, he had his face covered, and he could see his whole skeleton when the bomb went off.
Dear Lord.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy and terrifying?
Yeah.
But then he was the one, I don't know if I told this story on the podcast, but he was the one that went to Sturgis and got in a wreck on his motorcycle. And so that's why I'm scared of riding motorcycles.
Yeah.
You know, a guy who has seen his skeleton during a nuclear blast, I don't think a motorcycle accident is his biggest trouble.
It almost cut off his leg.
That is so fucking crazy.
That's okay. Because of the nuclear blast, it'll just grow back.
He handled it super well. He was just like,
nobody gets super
He was like, this little cut? I was like, little cut, sir. Your leg almost came off. He was like,
you ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan. I said Lieutenant.
Sadly, being exposed to nuclear energy and whatnot does not give you superpowers. However, if you ever want to ruin your day, look up genetic unspooling connected to nuclear weapons.
I know what that is.
And that'll ruin your day. And don't look at pictures.
Don't look it up.
No.
I'm looking it up right now. I'm not.
Really?
I'm not.
I am.
Anyway, we can go.
Anyways.
That was the story.
So, the story of Sean Lannon is not just about one man, because as always, we don't want to aggrandize him. He's a monster. He killed the mother of his children. He killed his mentor. He said that his mentor did horrible things to him with no evidence. And even if he did, you know, people who wrong you deserve to be caught, not murdered.
And he's a creepy piece of garbage.
And he was killing people with a friggin' hammer. He was not a good guy. Unfortunately, this is always about the people he impacted. You know, I mentioned 4 bodies found in the Sunport airport, and Thorne's immediately like, I remember that. I did too. And cases like this shake people. And they remember, the reason I did that case was because my mother-in-law had read an article about how it happened 30 years ago, and it came flooding back because 30 years ago, I was about 18 years old, and I was just getting out of high school, and I remember because it was young people close to my age got murdered in a video store, and we went to the video store all the time. So stories like this are about the lives it impacts, the people who are lost, the families that have to deal with that loss, the ripple. That's one thing. New Mexico, I always say it's a strange place. But when you think about these cases that are all New Mexico cases, this is where some of our ripples come from. That even in the most ordinary of places, be it a Hollywood video or a Albuquerque airport, something unthinkable can happen.
Yeah.
This has been Not Dead Yet Productions, The Arkins Hearth. Thank you for listening.
Stay safe in the plane station.
The plane station.
The plane station. Okay, love you. Bye. Oh wait. Don't forget to do all the things.
Yeah. And I am.
Find us. And
Tell your
anyone
friends.
who knows anyone in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah, we have had people listen, and now we've actually had someone. It wasn't New Zealand. It was just up above North New Zealand, still connected to the mainland.
Right.
But we're international, but we aren't global until we hit all of the main continents, and the only one we're missing is Australia.
Also, I'd like to say hi to the person in London because I've always wanted to go to London.
Oh, me too. That'd be so cool.
I love.
Thank you for
think it's
listening
just
to
one
us.
person?
It's whoever.
It was one download.
It was a singular
okay.
download. If you're listening to this
Thank you.
episode,
Please tell your
hi.
friends.
Hi.
She's like, "Hi, send me
Big
a
fan of your
ticket.
city.
Send me a ticket." So, anyways, no. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody.
Plane stations.
And plane stations.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Hasta la pasta.
Good night and thank you.